morning, guys. We are getting started with some highlights first. So Kristen is going to answer a question that I get all the time, and that is, what colors do you use in my hair to highlight my hair?
Well, I wish I could tell you something super amazing and creative, but it is actually just lightener, and I use Blondor, but I'm sure any hairstylist can use their lightener, and it'll be probably just the same result as long as they leave it on as they need to, and tone and things like that. So in the back, I just use a 30 volume first with the lightener, just because it takes time. And actually today, that's usually I do that. But since we've cut Shirley's hair, we don't have to worry about as much time, because I usually take fine highlights through the bottom so she doesn't look like a stripey. But I'm actually just going to do 40 because I'm kind of starting in the crown and up, because we kind of took off half of that through the bottom. So again, lightener with 40 volume. I do foil typically pretty fast, so if you're not as quick of a foiler,
she's amazing. She's a superstar foiler.
Well, thank you. If you're not as so fast, then take it down a notch.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's the hairstyle is part of it all.
And what color would you say my natural color is?
You're definitely for sure a 5. And part of it is because she is a little more on the ashy side. As you can see, this is all her. I don't put I don't tint her base. I don't cover gray. Like with her, we use just highlighting to camouflage any little, mature blondes that we have in there. Which Shirley doesn't have any.
We have some. But they're camouflaged. We like that.
They are. So she and I kind of talked, because she's now shorter in the crown, and on the bottom we had shaved this. So now I'm going to be starting a little bit higher, where we have actually some length. And last time we have not cut her yet. So she has some kind of ambitious length here. She's a little, in my opinion, a little too disconnected for my liking, but anyways, we're gonna trim that up. So I start down here. I'm going to start with just a real natural, not kind of baby lighting, but a heavier baby lighting. And then through the crown, I'm gonna throw baby lights, but then I am gonna start to chunk it up. And then as I'm going forward, we're gonna actually do some slicing to give it more of that pop. So to me, I don't like it to look like, whoa, I'm wearing a helmet of blonde and then dark. Some people like that. Go for it. But with her, that's I like more of a gradual. It just needs to be right, uniform,
And I think it helps it last longer, because I only get highlighted once every 3 months.
Yeah.
So this is after 3 months, and so with leaving those kind of more, a little bit more dark throughout, I think it helps the grow up.
Totally, and with the volume, with that short hair usually provides, this is not a style you're wearing flat, so you don't need to highlight. If she wanted to do every 4 weeks, honestly, I would say no, Shirley. We don't want to compromise your hair with 40 volume that I am using.
No.
So,
Yes.
So it's better on her hair, because she does leave and kind of definitely feel that extra, maybe a little dry. She needs a little hair loving afterwards.
Yes.
But it's just because I'm bleaching, and so I like to not do it as much.
Yeah.
So, in addition to, you don't have to. So.
Right. Yay. All right. Here we go.
Okay. Bye. That we are going to, hello again. We are going to change a little of the foiling on the angle here, only because, so if a hairdresser is watching, they would understand what I'm talking about here. So we went a bit short through here. So before, I used to just take it to the side and angle up. But now that we have kind of short, I'm not worrying about that. Obviously that's so short we can't really foil that. Some people would like to paint, but she's so dark, I'm afraid that it would end up way brassy, and so I just leave it alone. It's my preference. I am going to kind of angle to make sure we get that pop of blonde right in the front on where that length kind of starts, because otherwise if I don't, she'll end up with a dark side and a really light side. So we don't want that. So I just wanted to tell you about that. Hi guys, we're back. We're blonded up. Okay, so we today are going to, Shirley is short enough, and because the future is uncertain, shall we say, and where she's going to head with this cut. I just wanted to kind of explain what we're doing on the interim. So I would like to keep her illusion of this undercut going, and she's short enough, we don't need to go so short again. But what I'm going to do is trim really clean up around her ears to kind of give it that extra clean look, because she has some of this fringy, longer hair here. that will lay over some of that short. So that'll just give it an illusion that we've trimmed up everything nice and tight. And then I am also going to clean up the sides, like the right above her ear, and just kind of angle that a little shorter and carry that through the back. So in the back here, I am going to just keep her cleanly cut, and again, just kind of, I'm not going to scissor over comb, but I'll just probably take the clipper and kind of blend that to go nice and short so she doesn't get too bushy through the bottom. And then as far as this length here on, when she had come in, she had it nicely styled so I could see. And like I said, it was a little too long. So this is where we're gonna kind of, I'll probably take the razor and cut her the little guideline here. You can kind of see that length. It's pretty long. It's like probably like 2 inches. So I'm thinking more of like an inch is better. And then I will just kind of cut her up. And it's funny because we were talking about how before, when she had more length on the bottom, she had that to use to kind of like flip out a little bit or whatever she should decide. Now she's at, like, this is kind of where her length. So she has said that she doesn't feel the need to be as short on the top because that's kind of where the length is now. So, right? If that's any help.
Very good. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so everybody, I've oftentimes just called this like our little headband part, just because everybody knows where they would wear a headband. That's why. So this is where she's kind of spiking it up. Shirley, I've already trimmed, but do you feel like that's short enough?
I think so.
Because now that we're trying to keep a little fullness through there?
Yeah.
Okay, so her length in this little area right here is probably about 1.5 inches-ish. You can see those few at like the shortest point. We could go shorter if you're someone who likes your hair shorter, it's okay. But for her, because we're now kind of like, this is her fullness, this is where we're gonna keep her for that short point. And then I kind of also graduated that to the crown too. In the front here, she's been enjoying the length here. So as you can see, that's quite a bit longer. So it's kind of like, what do we do there? So I just kind of take it back, and I'll turn so you guys can see if someone's a hairdresser and wants to know. I just kind of point cut to marry it all together there. It doesn't have to be perfect because she is liking that length, and so that kind of has that disconnect. So I just kind of point cut through there, get some of those little ends a little healthy, as well as that length in the front. Do you feel like you love your whole length, like you hardly need a trim in the front at all?
No, I'm good for a trim. Yeah.
Like you need that little bit.
I need that half inch. Yeah.
So as you can see, I just pull all of this up, and then I just kind of chunk it out. We have decided in the front with her, especially because we lighten so much in there, that when we use the razor, we kind of keep it to like a minimal, if at all, around her, like with her bangs, totally. I might razor a little through here, but point cutting does her better because that bleach just, it just hammers the hair, but it makes it beautiful. So, great styling, all these things, but it does kind of make it a bit like more compromised. So, and then she also had asked if we could go a little shorter. Was it like right through here?
A little longer, longer right there. I can handle more length there.
You could handle more length, okay. So we'll probably just kind of tip all that, make sure it's kind of married. You don't want like on this side I haven't trimmed, so you can see the difference there. And I just kind of tip those ends. and because these little areas like right here where your temples may go in, sometimes that can get a little heavy right through there if you have really thick hair. She kind of does. I'm postpartum, so I'm like, I have major cul-de-sacs going on right now.
That's good.
I'm a little balding right there. Anyways, hopefully it'll come back. So anyways,
baby took a little extra hair.
you know, it's exciting. So we don't want to leave her too bulky in those areas because we have, and that causes a bit of a problem. So what I do is I kind of take just a little thickness, and I actually go kind of short and deep in there. So then it kind of takes out that weight. I always can kind of look at the ends because I look and go, okay, they're like skinny enough. You see the texture and the kind of shattered look through there. That's what you want in this type of a haircut. And then you can just pull it all forward.
Yeah, I definitely feel like the point cutting versus the razoring, especially after color, makes it lay a little bit flatter. So sometimes too much razoring can make my ends feel frizzy. Is that something?
Yeah, and that goes for her hair type, because I know someone brings this video and they say, oh, well, someone, you know, she says don't do the razor. It may work better on some other's hair, just so you know when you're like, because I know hairdressers sometimes, we I think sharing a video is great, but we don't, everybody's hair is a little different, so this is what we have found on Sharalee's hair that works best. We do tend to do the texturizing all through here, and we can use the razor, but again, it's more just like right in the front. We just kind of keep it a little more blunt, right on her length there. So, because we kind of take out through, call this in the interior, we pull out and really point cut all that.
And would you say texture of my hair is just pretty normal, like medium?
You're pretty
texture?
coarse.
Pretty coarse?
I feel like
Okay.
you're, I won't say pretty coarse, you're coarse.
Okay.
And I think it a lot does have to do with the fact that you do have a lot of hair. So you might get a different look. If you're more fine, I feel like you need more of a chunky texture.
Okay.
Because otherwise you won't see the definition between, like with Sharalee's, I can texturize and it does it kind of easy. If you're fine, I feel like you almost need to like, almost chunky, like,
Okay.
if that makes sense, not so blended,
Okay.
because you need to see those pieces that are a little bit more
That's helpful.
like
I get
chunky,
that
you
question
know?
a lot. Okay.
Because if I go like this and, you know, I just kind of, okay, little tip cutting, that's not gonna do much. But if I take her and I'm like, and when I say chunky, I'm actually gonna cut chunkier little V's almost in there. She could use some more, you know? I just
Take a little drop just to show what happens.
right. Especially in the crown, that's what we did talk
Right.
about actually.
Yes. Yeah.
For hairdressers, you know, you just kind of run your hands there and you can go like, oh, this area feels a little thick. And you can definitely over texturize, so that's something to be aware of as well.
Yeah.
Especially with finer hair, you want it chunky, but you don't want to do too much.
Don't too much texture. Okay.
But so overall, I did do a little of the fringe around her face with the razoring because that just makes a nice softness there. And we actually didn't trim the length on that, so, okay. I'm gonna kind of clip this up so I don't cut anything I shouldn't.
End up with, ooh, really short hair.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kristen.
Oh, you're welcome. It's always fun, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.